Hi people, you can see that I'm sitting outside in the lovely sunshine, sitting in my garden with my shed behind me. This is the reality of my house. How genuine do you want to get? You'll hear the glugging sound of the water going down the drain with my washing machine on. You'll hear the seagulls squawking in the background and people's garden machinery starting up and somebody starting a motorbike over there and some jets flying across in a minute, I'm sure, making more noise than I can make. You'll see that, I'm sitting here in my green jacket, big winter jacket, despite the fact that it's end of April. It was frosty this morning. We're talking -1 degrees, and I've been pretty unwell this past few days. I'm kind of recovering, but this is a long-term thing that I need to talk to my doctors about, a repeating thing in my life. This is not what I'm here to talk about. I'm just mentioning it in passing conversation, that's all. Just as a little conversation, passing conversation. So I'm sitting here in my coat despite the fact that it's sunny and warm, because actually I'm not particularly warm. Maybe I'm still not used to this environment after 35 years of living here. I'm 55 years old. Anyway, why am I making this video? I'm making this video to say, isn't it saddening? Isn't it a shame about Facebook? What? What do I mean? Well, if you're a coach, and I bet you've heard that line from so many people, if you're a coach looking to make some money, then sign up to my thing now. No, that's not what I'm here to say at all. If you're a coach and you've struggled with it because you're real with it and you're deep with it, isn't it a shame that almost every second post you see on Facebook as you're scrolling are people who are selling their souls, trying to sell your souls, selling their souls, trying to make a fast buck, Isn't it a shame that by extension that most individuals that are putting themselves on Facebook in any way, shape or form, they're putting their naked children and their naked babies on Facebook in today's society, and they're also putting themselves on Facebook as looking like they're having, some whale of a time in the pub with their mates, waving their hands over their heads, way hey hey, when in fact most people must be struggling as a result of this COVID thing. What is it, 3 years, 4 years since COVID struck? Even 2 years since it really stuck in. And I don't think for one moment that a lot of people were immediately hit with the effects of COVID. I think that people are going to be hit with the effects of COVID for their whole lives now. When your finances are hit to the point that 2-3 years later your banks are zeroed and you can't afford to feed your kids, buy your shopping for the week, because you do your shopping weekly or twice weekly, then how can you be waving your heads above your head, demonstrating that on Facebook you have this way hey hey whale of a happy life? No, you don't. So I'm only putting this on Facebook to see what kind of responses I get from real people. Why? Why am I doing this? To see what kind of responses I get from real people? Well, because I'm actually very seriously now considering totally quitting Facebook, not going on to Facebook. Facebook for me is two or three things. It's the sadness of seeing almost every single post I see is coming from people and businesses that have started later than I've started, that have started after me, and that seem to be running past me at a tremendous rate of knots, from people who say that they've gone from zero to hero and that they can show me how to do the same thing. I don't believe a single word of it. I don't believe a single word of any of them, not even the great names like Tony Robbins. None of the people who put their coaching adverts and businesses on Facebook, I don't believe that any of those are any better off than I am. I don't believe that any of these people have any more skill, training, perfection in their art than I have. I don't believe it for 1 minute. So I think that Facebook brings to our lives a lot of lies, and I think that Facebook is also the mouth of Armageddishness. I've said this aplenty, and I'm saying it again. It brings us constant news of the elite, the elites, the people who are going underground into their fancy underground systems and caves, while the rest of us are having to suffer the end of the world. So if we're coming from a biblical angle, you know, as most of you so-called Christians say you do, then surely you have to look at Facebook itself as the beast, because of what Facebook spouts. It causes self-doubt, depression, worry about the future, fear for every day. It is one of the biggest screens of common modern day perversery. It is the thing that brings the biggest news of child molestation into the world, into all of our faces, and yet people still want to put reams of photos of their naked children online in the public arena. How stupid of them. You know, fools. You know, not only fools, but you could say they're asking for it. Okay? Who am I to speak? Correct. Who am I to speak? And I ain't going to explain. I put the occasional photo of my kids online, but I'm very careful, because the missus always mentions to me if I'm about to and before I do so. But I'm one of these that also has so far stuck to my guns and believed there must be some good in social media, there must be some good in Facebook. But the longer I spend looking at Facebook, the more I see there is to be scared of and depressed about. So I'm just speaking my mind. Okay, to you who are Facebook, whatever you are, you guardians, you people who look to protect Facebook, you better buck your ideas up, because I, as one person, and I know that a lot will follow me just because of my attitude and what I'm honestly speaking here, I'm thinking about going across to some other social media, like Instagram, for instance. And I might use TikTok a little bit, but from what I know about TikTok, I know that us Westerners are fed differently to what the Chinese are fed. And I would prefer that they feed us education as well, or educative posts. However, I'm not holding out much hope that they will. So what? I'll go across to Instagram and I might post my stuff from Instagram onto Facebook, but I think I'm going to start with Instagram. And this is because I noticed that as a strategy, one needs to put their communications and their promotional stuff onto Instagram first before Facebook, because people seem to like what's coming across from Instagram. Putting your stuff straight onto Facebook is almost like social suicide. I notice that so little of my Facebook posts get anywhere near the kind of response that I would like. I get a few likes here and there, but sure, I would also like to build my business as a life coach. And I feel that the reason it's not is, one, because I don't spend big on fancy video editing and fancy bright looking adverts. People are beginning to say that they want some kind of genuineness from people, from the advertisers. I'm being very genuine here. I'm sitting outside in my shed. I've told you I'm bloody freezing cold. I've not been well. You're getting some of my reality here. You're getting my real face. I've not put on any lipstick or eyeshadow. I'm not wearing, an Armani suit, and I haven't got a ponytail. What else can I say? I haven't got the most expensive lighting sitting around me. It's just the sunshine shining on my face, so probably half my face is in shadow. Not looking at using any fancy linguistic structures, even though I studied NLP to trainer level. I'm not using any techniques on you or with you just now. And yet, despite the fact that I've mentioned in the past and I've tried to keep things genuine, I actually have zero, there's admitting something, zero interest in what I do. Now, I'm confident that if I go to the likes of Instagram or one of the other social medias, there's going to be people who actually like what I do and the way I come across. I think that Facebook is actively blocking me, in that they're limiting the number of people that my posts can go across to. And I think that on top of that, my attitude doesn't smack of a liar. Some of you people say you want genuineness from people, and yet somebody like me who's genuine because I can't not be, my reality shows on my face whether I like it or not. My reality shows in my reality whether I like it or not. So, and my reality, despite everything, is pretty good, actually, I have to say. I ain't filthy stinking rich. In fact, financially, you could say I'm broke, to be honest. But my real reality, the house, the garden, the vehicle, the bikes, my shed, my tools, my creativity, my mind when I'm not crying, when I'm not in pain, is pretty good. So I have a good life. So despite the fact that I give you genuine me, I get so few comments, I get so few compliments, I get so few likes, I get not enough reality of people saying to me, yeah, I know what you're struggling with, Jace. I feel you, mate. And yet, if you can give me the coaching models, I'll pay for them. That's what I'd like. I'd love if more and more of you were to say to me, okay, mate, you're struggling. I know you're struggling. You've told us you're struggling. You know the coaching models. You've studied coaching for most of your adult life, including life coaching, NLP, HUNA, Hoodoo, and if I listed all of the coaching modalities I'd actually studied and certified in, I'd bore the pants off you, you know. Sure, Jace, if you could help me with the coaching models, I'll pay you. That's what I'm looking for from people. And I know that even as I am, I could be 100 times better than the likes of these bigwigs that stand on stage and, you know, motivate the hell out of you. I know that. Because what you get from these bigwigs that motivate the hell out of you is something that's kind of in the moment now, emotionally addictive, but it's icing sugar. It's like icing sugar. It's addictive, and you know, in the moment it gives you a buzz, but you'll get addicted to it forevermore. Hang on. You hear the birds? That's gorgeous. I love bird song. I actually come out here into the garden and mimic the birds when they're singing. I've saved a couple of birds here in the garden actually, and they come and use a platform, a shelf here in my shed behind me. They just actually come and stand there quite often. I actually think that without bird song, humans would go insane. I think the silence would drive people insane, literally. I love bird song. I would record it. I have recorded bird song actually. I've got recordings on my phone of bird song that I've saved onto a site, what's it called, Terabox, that I've saved onto Terabox. Is it Terabox? Terabox. Anyway, back to the point. I would love for people to say to me, yeah, Jace, I know you're a real human, and sure, I'll pay you, because I know that I'm going to get better than all of these fancy stand on stage, Mr. Motivator type people. Power to their elbow, and I've learned some from them, and I've done that kind of stand-up stuff with people, but it ain't really for me. It's a bit embarrassing, it's a bit crass, it's a bit kind of, you know, I prefer to be real. I prefer to keep it low, sweet chariot, you know. I prefer to keep it very real. There's a bird just flown off there, a little starling. Is that a starling? Anyway, I would much prefer people to come to me in reality and say, so you've done life coaching, can you help me then increase my income by X amount? To which I would say, absolutely, yeah, I can. And in fact, I'm so good at the coaching that I've actually done so for more than one person, but one person I can name and who I have a spoken, voice recorded reference from, who used to be a Rogerian therapist, a very respected lady who became a personal friend of mine, who I created some NLP master style financial increase for with one 8-second question a good number of years back. Her life has changed a few times since then. I'm not going to say that my 8-second question made her filthy stinking rich. That wasn't what she was looking for. She was really looking for an income of about a third to what she was normally getting, in the number of clients she was attracting, and she wanted that change within about 3 or 4 months of her life. That's what she needed, and that did actually occur. She couldn't see how it was going to happen in the circumstances she was living in, and she asked me for a spell, and I created a spell in 8 seconds that did that for her in that time frame. An increase in her income of 30-ish%, within 3 months of her asking. I didn't see her for a couple of years after giving her that phrase, but when I next saw her, she says, oh yeah, it worked absolutely, and gave me two references. One was a short ditty that I turned into a ditty on some of my videos back then, but I haven't used them since because I don't want to have to. And two, a half-hour interview in which I asked her deep questions about why do you think it occurred, how do you think it occurred, what was it about it that made it happen for you, you know. And she explained various things to me and told me where she was at and all that kind of stuff, but I don't want to have to. I see a lot of posts on Facebook where people are saying wonderful things like, we're looking for genuineness these days, you know, and all power to their elbows, they're saying the right thing, but I don't want to have to be so naked. I just want to be a human. I just want to be me. I just want to be as I am. I don't want to have to raise my voice. I don't want to have to raise my energy. I don't want to have to raise merry hell. I don't want to have to do that. I just want to talk, because I know that in talking to people, you know, on this level, without coming across as something that I ain't, something thou art, something thou aren't, you know, without coming across as something that I'm not. I want people to listen to what I'm saying rather than the way I'm saying it, to ask me for the models, and I'll share with them the models, but pay me for the models, and I'll share with them the models, and I'll give them the beasting, and I'll give them the, you know, the motivational happy clappy stuff personally, behind closed doors, not in public, you know, because I don't want to cast that before swine. I don't want to make that available for other people to knock down. That will be private for me and whoever pays me, you know. But Facebook, again, you're not cutting it for me. You haven't done in all the years that I've been on Facebook, because in all the years that I've been on Facebook and shared my stuff and spoken from a real position using my video camera on my phone, in my bedroom, on my cheap $7.99 tripod, with whatever lighting I can find and buy, because I've bought some lighting, not expensive, but I've bought some. Facebook hasn't cut it for me. Facebook hasn't done it for me. Facebook is not the platform that I can promote it on, unless it becomes so as a result of this video, but I don't think it's going to be. So I'm going to start posting stuff on Instagram, okay? And Instagram is going to be my first port of call. My loyalty, if you like, is going across to Instagram for a while. Now, hey, Instagram, you controllers of Instagram, you people on Instagram, I'm coming across to you. I'd like you to also show me some loyalty, if I'm going to show you the loyalty of trusting that you might be my marketing platform. I want some loyalty back, please. I want some support, because I'm not getting enough support. I'm saying that straight. Not going to weep and cry and lay it on thick, and I'm not going to be a twat about it and call you any names or anything. I'm just going to say blank point of fact, Facebook ain't done it for me. Instagram, please support me. All other social medias, please support me. Put my stuff on Facebook, share my stuff, make my coaching empire grow, because I know that I'm worth it, and you do too. If you think that, like this, in your garden or in my garden or in your house or in my house or over Zoom or whatever, WebEx or whatever, we can do some decent coaching, I can help you, I can help you, and you can help me. There's no, I'm not better than you and you're not better than me. I'm better than you at some things and you're better than me at some things. But at these coaching things, I'm pretty excellent. I know I am. You know, I know I am. Go on, say it. Why hasn't it worked for me then? Why can't I coach myself? Well, because no one can. You can put yourself through your own coaching as much as you like, but until you gain some ground with that, through the boost that having clients brings you, all that is really for yourself is nothing more than verbal masturbation. There you go, I've said it. Until it kicks in, it's nothing more than verbal masturbation. I've said it. Okay? It's nothing more than flanneling yourself until it takes off. Once it takes off, then you can call it coaching. You can't really call it coaching unless it has the effect on you. But while you're not earning from it, it ain't coaching. It's words that are having no effect. It's pointless self-verbal flagellation until it takes off. Does that make me a realist? Does that make me a cynic? What does that make me? Whatever. I'm just being realistic. Okay? Sure, you could say that these things take time. What? 20 years? A lifetime? What? Okay? Can I beast myself and whip myself into shape? I am doing, and it is working. How can I say that it's working? Because despite the stresses of life at the moment, with the way finance is in the world, with the way money itself is in the world, with the way COVID has affected a majority of you out there, and I know it has, in bringing your finances and your businesses and your kingdoms crashing to the ground the way that is happening. Despite all this going on around me, I am over emotional, I am oversensitive, but I'm coping with it. And I've made some decisions about what direction my life is going back into fairly recently that has actually benefited me massively. I wouldn't say benefited me financially massively yet, but let me spell it out instead of trying to, whatever I'm trying to do, spell it out. As a result of this this whole COVID shocker, I lost my job as an agency care assistant. I turned up at the beginning of COVID, before it was big news, with full COVID-like symptoms. Whether it was COVID or not, don't know. And that's affected my health ever since. Yeah, it has. That's 3 years now. Was sent home because couldn't work in my state. I'd driven 400 miles to work in the care home, and within a few months of being sent home, or immediately, there were no more shifts for many agency care assistants, because in those times, once COVID had kicked in, care homes were scared to take on agency staff because of the threat of cross-contamination. I'm making sense now. Within a few months, 2 or 3 months, I was sent my termination of contract from my company. Now, I know that that was an illegal move on their part, and I know, because I've heard from people, that I would have had a legal leg to stand on, and probably still do, as far as could have claimed something back from that. But can't be bothered. I don't want to. Let it go. I don't want the emotionality of it, and I love the manageress of the company. I think she's a lovely woman. I mean no harm to the company, and I don't want to take that back to them. No interest. I'm a forgiving man, not interested. The stresses, however, have been a big thing in my life, especially after hearing that 10 of the residents died of COVID within a fortnight of me not being there. What a whacker for me. That wiped me out. Plus 2 of my lifetime best friends, people that I've lived and worked with a lot of my adult life since coming to Scotland 35 years ago. They're gone now, so that kind of wiped me out, and it's something that does make me tearful every day. Now, as a result of all this loss, I was in a position where I had to make a decision pretty quickly as far as where are we going to get some regularity of money from other than benefits. So I made a decision to go to university. Now, what would I study at university? I've done complementary therapies in the past, and because of my physical conditions, I suffer with Raynaud's and hypersensitivity to chemicals, etc. I was told that a future in the likes of aromatherapy would not be for me. So I've given that a miss. So I turned to outdoor education. Now, at the moment, I've also had circumstances that have arisen that have said to me that that might not be stable for me either. That might be something that falls away in my life. And the wife has said to me, do not give up that under any circumstances whatsoever, because the decision to do outdoor education at university level degree is an amazing decision in my life. My PAT said to me one day when I was struggling, I started at full time. For the whole of the summer period between Easter and starting the degree, I was in touch with SAAS, Students Awards Agency for Scotland, at least twice a week via email, phone and their chat box function to suss out how much money I had left, how much funding I had left in my account. And the deal then was I had 3 years funding left. So I took the degree, thinking that I could start at second year, 2, 3, 4, that's 3 years. And so part way into the course, maybe a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, not even quite a month, they phoned me at home and said, look, we have an apology to make to you. You don't have 3 years funding, you only have 2. What a shocker. So I pursued it, and it turned out that they would not pay for the current year, that they would only pay for the last 2 years. So I had a year to pay for. I was between a rock and a hard place in that where the hell would the money come from for me to pay student fees, etc. And the student finance department then got on my case because SAAS didn't pay them, blah 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 blah, long story. I got back to the SAAS and they said I would have to pursue them through their legal department, which I tried to do, and they promptly informed me that we have no record of you ever contacting us. Now that's something that I know is bang out of order, and they couldn't find any of the records of me ever having contacted them. Now I know that's out of order. There might be some legal comeback from me telling this truth on video, but hey, I don't care. You know, I'm saying it. That's the truth. Now, I can't prove any of this, however, because this was all said verbally, you know, so I can't prove any of this. So I pulled back to part-time doing this degree. So I've taken year 2 over 2 years. So I've still got 2 years left. However, because I pulled back and spoke to the SAAS constantly about it, I still have 2 years full-time funding left. So at the end of this year, it's now what, April, at the end of this year, I can go back into the course next year after the summer period. I have 2 years left. I can take years 3 and 4 at full time, so I can get my dissertation, my degree dissertation as well. And there's a reason that I want that. So all going well, my lifestyle is such that I'm an outdoor person anyway. I haven't been for a number of walks for a good long while, but I am an outdoor type. I can't stay clean. No matter what I do, I can't stay clean for very long. I'm one of those that I couldn't dress in a suit because I wouldn't stay clean for more than 5 minutes. You know, I like to have my hand in the soil. I like to cut wood. I like to do all that sort of stuff. I like to do projects, you know, wonky bookshelves and all that. I'd like to get into wood carving and making wooden talismans and you know, magical staffs and magical wands and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to, in fact. I'm 55 now. I'm going to get into that and put those products up for sale soon enough. So the decision that I made to get into outdoor education, I know, is one of the best decisions of my life because it suits me. It's about me. It's my subjects. Some of these subjects are very weepy, like for instance the population agenda. If you look deeply into the population agenda, that must be a weepy for people. It must be. You know, if you say that the population agenda isn't challenging, you know, mentally and emotionally, you must have some kind of strength or insensitivity about you. So I'm starting to dry up for things to say. So my points again, just to say them. Hi people, despite what I'm going through, I think I've made some good decisions, and I think I'm making some good decisions in that I'm considering completely moving away from Facebook because I don't get enough proper feedback. I don't get enough support for what I do, and I'm thinking about going to other social medias and encouraging those social medias to then post my stuff onto Facebook. But my loyalty to Facebook is fading fast because Facebook is a mouthpiece. It's a mouthpiece for the wrong side of Christianity. Facebook is a mouthpiece for the wrong side of the healer. Facebook is the mouth of doom and gloom. Facebook is doom and gloom. Facebook, in my opinion, has become a beast because it teaches people that they're not worthy. It teaches people that everyone is better than them individually. It teaches people that everyone is having a way, hey, hey, whale of a time, when in fact there's no truth in that, actually. It encourages people to be jealous and envious of one another. It encourages people to hate one another instead of understanding one another. It is bringing news of the elite and the end of the world and all this kind of stuff, which is too much. It brings news that everyone else is doing better than you, you know, and I'm just sick of it. You know, I think that's part of what is making people sick, actually. I think that a large degree of depression and discontent. Battery power down to 15%, so I'm going to have to switch off it in a minute anyway. A large amount of discontent and depression in life is due to people not realizing what they're taking in subconsciously as they're scrolling through Facebook. Every second post is about something they've said at some point, and it's proving that everyone else other than them is making it. Everyone else is better than them at creating in life and making forward progress in life, and that they're the only ones being left behind, you know, which is not true. It's not true. It's a fabrication that comes through Facebook. So Facebook, you're a monster. You're out of order. You're a crusher of the human spirit. So goodbye, basically. Thank you. Thank you. You'll see me on other social media. And I would like some loyalty thrown back at me from the people that are like me, from those of you that like what I'm saying and agree with me. I'd appreciate some loyalty from you. Thank you.